A year ahead of the French presidential election, where do candidates stand? The first round of the French presidential election is just a year away, and a new poll gives an idea of where things stand. French far-right Jordan Bardella comes in a comfortable first, while far-left Jean-Luc Mélenchon and right-wing Edouard Philippe tie in second place. The race is very much tightening for whoever will face the national rally in the second round. France 24's Mark Perelman tells us more. U.S. plans to slash bombers and warships available to NATO in a crisis, report claims. Notifications can be managed in browser preferences. The United States plans to slash vital military contributions available to Europe in a crisis, including fighter jets, warships and strategic bombers, according to a report. An envoy of U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth briefed top officials at NATO headquarters late last week that Washington intends to cut its commitments to the so-called NATO force model, according to German outlet Der Spiegel. The framework sets out how national forces are made available to the alliance, helping to ensure a rapid response in the event of a crisis or conflict. U.S. envoy Alexander Volesgreen reportedly said during the closed-door meeting that the commitment for U.S. fighter jets would fall by a third, while the U.S. Navy will make fewer destroyers available and no longer provide any submarines. Under the change, Iran looking to buy time to rebuild its military amid talks to end war. Iran accused the United States of breaching their ceasefire and warned it was ready to retaliate after overnight U.S. strikes targeting Iranian missile sites and mine-laying boats. Despite the strikes, the U.S. is adamant that a deal was within reach, and a top Iranian official delegation in Qatar says it is finalizing a 14-point framework for a deal to end the war. France 24's Philippe Till looks at where talks are stalling. The 75-year-old military deadlock which Trump must learn from in his war with Iran. Notifications can be managed in browser preferences. In October 1950, at the peak of the Korean War, Rear Admiral Smith, second in command of U.S. Naval Forces Far East, sent a signal to his commanding officer, Vice Admiral Turner Joy, "We have lost control of the seas to a nation without a navy, using pre-World War I weapons, laid by vessels that were utilized at a time of the birth of Christ." This exasperated comment reflected on a plan to invade Wonsan on the east coast of the Korean peninsula, which had been held up for weeks by the presence of North Korean mines. Over the preceding 5 days, the whole invasion fleet, complete with its embarked forces, had been compelled to yo-yo back and forth up and down a stretch of water 20 miles off the coast, waiting for clearance. By the time they finally reached the shore, the city already had been taken by their South Korean allies. U.S. anxious to come to deal with Iran as Tehran seeks release of frozen assets. The U.S. struck targets in Iran, the first since the start of the ceasefire and amid fragile talks between Tehran and Washington. The strikes come as the U.S. is becoming anxious to come to a deal and end the war, as a growing number of Americans oppose the war ahead of the midterm elections. Iran has accused the U.S. of violating the ceasefire and asked for the unfreezing of Iranian funds as part of the deal. France 24's Philippe Till tells us about where the talks stand now.